so that
This meeting is being recorded.
so that it doesn't cause any undue issues with the company itself. But we do try and provide a benefit that is useful. I know that me and my family use this benefit substantially, probably equal to or maybe even more so than most people in the company. And so when I do evaluate these, I look at it at a very personal nature. How does this affect me and my family? How does it affect the care that we're going to get? All of those things, and I take all of those things into consideration. It's not done lightly. So I know that Lisa's put in a lot of work with Brandon and Mandy, and they've gone through a lot of different options. I was lucky to only be presented a part of it, and they know what I'm looking for. So I think it was pretty refined by the time I got to see it. So I appreciate their effort, and I hope that this is something that is good for everybody. And with that, I guess I'll turn the time over to whoever's going to get the thing rolling.
All right. Well, thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. Yes, I think, we went through a process here to make sure, we're offering the most competitive package for you and your family. And just to touch on what Larry had said, by the way, I'm Brandon. I'm with CapFi Consulting. To my left is Mandy. We're known as Team Brandy. You may remember us from the past. But just to kind of hit a little bit on what Larry was saying, it's been a rough year in employee benefits. And it seems like we always kind of have a rough year, but this was more so than usual with COVID and coming back and claims and that type of stuff. So the carriers have kind of responded with pretty high increases. And most of the strategy that takes place with employers is lowering contributions, raising deductibles, trying to manage one of the largest overhead costs for employers is benefits. But I will tell you that Panther decided to stay with the contributions, which is 100% for employee and 50% for dependents. This is pretty rare in the market. Most don't pay much for dependents, and some have even dropped from paying 100% for employees. So I do want to just spell out a little bit of the generosity from Panther on this. We have over 50 clients here in the Vancouver, Portland area. And so we've got a pretty good range of what we see. And this is pretty unique. So hopefully you're grateful for that. I am going to share my screen and we're going to go through a presentation here. Also, I wanted to invite United Healthcare to this meeting because it's important, one, that you have any questions answered. It's hard to navigate through healthcare. And so we wanted to bring the expert on. And so Michelle Hobbs, who is our account manager that we work with, United Healthcare, she is here today. She will be presenting some of the United benefits and resources. And then also we will have time for questions. Now, if you want, there's a couple ways to ask questions. We ask you to use the chat. We will monitor those and look at the questions and answer those probably towards the end. Or if you're comfortable, you can ask them through virtually. The only thing I would caution is be careful of private information and that type of thing. If you have a general question that benefits the whole group, feel free to ask towards the end when we have Q&A. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen here. This is open enrollment. And just to go over a quick agenda here on what we're going to cover. Your open enrollment period is December 1st today through December 18th. You should be used to Employee Navigator. We will go through that, but this is the way that you're going to enroll in your benefits. As a reminder, so we are renewing with United Healthcare. That was the best option. We do have two plans there that we will go through. The first is an HSA $3,000 deductible plan. And then we have a traditional PPO plan that's a $2,000 deductible. And Michelle will spell out some of the highlights of each plan. And again, just to remind you, the employer contribution is 100% employee and 50% of dependent costs. We are renewing with MetLife as well for the dental and vision. And again, very generous contribution for these benefits. And then we have 100% paid group life for you, and then the long-term disability. And then we do want to just remind you that you have access to an employee assistance program. These are good tools to utilize. They're very underutilized, and these actually will spell out some of the specifics, but these can be very helpful in a time of crisis that you could use. We'll go through some of the ancillary things. We use a third party called TASK for the HSA, FSA, the limited FSA, we'll explain that, and then the dependent care pre-tax account as well. And then we'll end with the employee navigator on how to register for the benefits, and then a Q&A at the end. Well, you know, we got to make this a little bit fun. Benefits are not the most exciting topic, so feel free here to use the chat. We're going to give away two $50 gift cards to anywhere, your choice. If you can come up with the best theme for the year 2023 that we're going into. So feel free just to put your creative theme in the chat. We'll be taking a look at that, and we'll be voting there at the end. All right, so with that, we're going to turn the time over to Michelle, and we'll go through some of the United benefits. And Michelle, just feel free to tell me next slide as you go.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Brandon. Thank you all for letting me come and go through your benefits. This is a really great opportunity for me personally. I love educating our members on how to utilize the wonderful benefit plans that your employer has in place for you. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll go to the next slide, Brandon. We'll dive right into your first plan option. This is that HSA 3000 option. And you'll notice it's very big that this is in network. We want to make sure that everybody understands that this benefit has access to coverage for contracted or in-network providers only. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of those provider search tools within your MyUHC account to find those in-network providers. The really great thing, if anybody has not downloaded our mobile app yet, especially when it comes to in-network plans, I love our provider finder on our UHC app because it is based on your GPS. So it will tell you contracted providers closest to you where you're actually located at that time. So if you're traveling and maybe you need to go to the urgent care, that app is going to show you those in-network providers closest to where you are, which is fantastic. What it means if you do not utilize a contracted provider is that you won't have any coverage. So we want to make sure that you're definitely staying in network to take advantage of your insurance plan if you elect this option. Now, as I dive into your benefit details, this is a plan that is, everything is subject to deductible with the exception of your preventive care. So you'll notice when I go through this, it'll all look very familiar. You have a $3,000 deductible if you're enrolled as an individual. If you enroll with yourself and any other dependents, it is that family deductible of $6,000. If you are enrolled, out-of-pocket maximums for an individual, it is $3,000, and for a family, it's $6,000. What this means on this plan is once you've hit that deductible, you've also hit your out-of-pocket maximum, which means your plan will then cover every other service at 100%. So really great plan design overall, because the most you're going to spend on your insurance for qualified expenses on a calendar year is $3,000. This is a fantastic plan. It does include office visits, hospitals, urgent care, lab work, emergency room, and prescription drugs. A lot of people don't realize that your prescription drugs are included in that as well. So everything that you're paying out of pocket for your in-network services is going to contribute towards that deductible and out of pocket.
Michelle.
Yes.
Can I jump in for a second? We did have a question in the chat box, and they're asking if California employees are eligible for this plan because it's an in-network only.
Yes, you would have access to those in-network providers in California as well. Our Choice Plus network is our national network, so it's going to be accessible to everybody across the country. So it's a fantastic option, again, for everybody. Great question. Anybody, any other questions? If not, we'll keep plugging right along in respect of everybody's time.
Hey, Michelle, real quick, I'm just going to add one thing here on the preventive care, especially those enrolled in the HSA plan. This seems to come up quite a bit. So in theory, it's covered 100%, no copay. What happens, though, is sometimes the employee gets a bill from the provider, and they're like, wait, I thought this was covered 100%. So what might happen is if you go into your physician and maybe you ask for a refill or you ask them to look at something else, your visit just got changed to a diagnostic visit, which means it's no longer covered 100% and you're now paying the full bill because you're subject to the deductible. So just a reminder that this preventive care, which includes physicals, mammograms, also colonoscopies, which are just delightful, those things all should be covered 100%, but we want to make sure we're not changing that to diagnostic coverage. All right, Michelle, back to you.
No, I appreciate that, Brandon. That is a very good point, and that can happen without really even recognizing it. So I always tell people, if you're going in for a preventive visit, make sure that's all you talk about. You just want your wellness checkup. You'll come back if there's a pain in your elbow or a crick in your neck. Just make sure that you're taking advantage of that conversation with the doctor. And with that, I will tack on that United Healthcare has a really great tool out on My UHC that does help you identify preventive care based on your gender and your age, which is really helpful as well to kind of keep you aware of what types of preventive services should be being done at what time. So that's a good conversation point to have with your doctor as well. Moving on to your next option. This plan is more of a traditional, hence the reason we called it traditional $2,000 plan. It has a $2,000 deductible for an individual and $4,000 for your family. Your maximum out of pocket per year on this plan is $5,000 for an individual and $10,000 for a family. This particular plan does have access to both in and out of network benefits, but I personally like to only focus on the good, which is your in-network. That's where you're going to see the deepest discounting and the best benefits, because you're going to take advantage of all of those contracted rates that we have with the providers. While you have access to the out-of-network, I just still encourage everybody to utilize those tools and resources that help you find those contracted providers. Again, preventive care, as we mentioned previously, this is covered in full, but again, make sure you're having those conversations that this is going to be a preventive visit and that you're only having those services done at that time to help avoid some of those unexpected bills. This plan does offer telehealth virtual visits at no cost. This allows you to access some 24/7 care with doctors virtually, which is a fantastic opportunity to allow you to seek that care at no cost share. If you do need to see your primary care doctor, it's going to be a $25 copay. Specialty care is going to be a $75 copay. If you need to utilize urgent care, the copay for that benefit is $50. If you have lab work that you're needing to have done, that is going to be subject to your deductible and then a 20% co-insurance. If you have to go into the hospital or have a surgery of some type, that is also going to be subject to deductible and then co-insurance. If you have to utilize the emergency room, and I really hope we can help give you guys other options than the ER, because you'll see this is going to be a $300 copay and then your deductible and co-insurance. The last thing I talk about is your prescription drugs. You do have a 4-tiered prescription drug plan. You have tier 1 drugs available at a $10 copay, tier 2 drugs at a $35 copay, tier 3 drugs at a $75 copay, and then tier 4 drugs would be a $250 copay. You guys hear me? I feel like a broken record as much as I say myuhc.com and the United Healthcare mobile app. And then Rally is also another resource available to you guys. These are all of our mobile device opportunities for you to take advantage of all of the information available to you through your United Healthcare benefit plan. So we can utilize the desktop or the mobile app. And then Rally is another portal that allows you to access some wellness opportunities that are built into your plan as well. Some of the benefits of myuhc.com. This is where, again, you're going to use that awesome provider finder to make sure that you're staying in network to take advantage of those discounts and get the best benefit. And then also to make sure if you're on that HSA that you're taking full advantage of your benefit plan. You can also track claim statuses if you're interested in knowing whether a claim has been submitted, where it's at in the process. That information is available. Estimating costs. I personally just did this for a procedure I had to have earlier in the year, and it was a really great snapshot of what I could expect to pay for this particular procedure from start to finish. So from the time that I'm getting diagnosed to any treatment that I need to have in the middle and maybe follow-up visits. So if I was having a knee surgery, it would start from the point that I met with my orthopedic specialist to the time I had the surgery to the time I had PT at the end, so I could understand what my benefits were going to cost me for that procedure. This is built directly again into that provider finder, so you can take a true look at the providers that you're going to be using and the facilities that that's going to take place at and get a really good idea of what you're going to be paying. And then the last item is keeping a personal health record. A lot of times people don't find value in this, but I personally, as an HSA person, do find value in having a personal health record. So I have a place to store all of my information, and it's all in one location.
So Michelle, just a quick question here. I think it's relevant, especially with this group here on finding a provider. Obviously, app, website, but it does change. I know that sometimes the providers in the network may change. Or should we recommend a call to United just to confirm sometimes if that provider is in the network?
I think that is a really excellent point and a good time to talk about the providers. While United Healthcare does our very, very best to ensure that the technology is available to our members, there are times that the provider may leave the network or there's an update that hasn't been provided to us, because we do partner with them to let us know if they're accepting new patients, if they have other changes that need to be made note of. And we do rely on them to kind of work with us. And in the event that you're concerned something may not be accurate, absolutely give us a phone call and let us do some additional research and confirmation if necessary for you to make sure that those providers are who you're wanting to see and where you're wanting to see them.
Okay. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm putting it on the spot. Do you know how often the website's updated? Is that a frequent thing, once a quarter, that type of thing?
I know that the frequency is more than quarterly, but I will have to verify exactly if it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, how that happens, and get back to you. I can definitely do that. But it is the most, it is updated pretty frequently, more so than quarterly, as far as I understand.
So I would just recommend to the employees here is if you have a new provider or if there's something, a procedure, and if there's any question about in-network, I would make the call to United Healthcare confirming that they're in the network.
And I will say that we have some pretty great ways for you to get in touch with United Healthcare. You can chat with us through the mobile app. You can call us. I believe that there's even that newfangled technology to let you get in line so you don't have to wait on the phone. So definitely don't hesitate to contact us and let us be your resource and your support system through those types of questions.
Okay.
The next thing that I want to talk about is home delivery or mail order. Your plan does include the opportunity to take advantage of mail order. So for those of you that may be taking a maintenance medication or something that's expected to go longer than 90 days, this could be a really great opportunity for you to take advantage of a 3-month supply delivered directly to your home. We always cover the shipping, so you don't have to worry about shipping on that. You can set up reminders for refills, and there's also access to a 24-hour pharmacist in case you have questions. But this is a really great opportunity for you to just kind of set it and forget it, so to speak, in your prescriptions. I know I get reminders when it's time to refill mine, and I personally had never tried mail order prior to COVID, but this was a really great opportunity for me to learn just how convenient it can be for the medications that meet, those maintenance type of requirements.
Michelle, maybe just here touch on the requirement for the mail order, or if not, having to opt out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna definitely, I think my next slide had a little bit more information on the Optum
Okay.
RX enrollment. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay.
I do want to kind of show everybody how you can find it. Again, it's going to be located on your myuhc.com website or your mobile app under the prescriptions tab. And you'll have an opportunity to sign up for mail order if that's what you would like to do, or you can opt out of mail order if you've signed up and maybe it's not working for you. All of this administration is available to you right here on this portal. Once you get to that point, when you click on a lot of these options, it will transport you into Optum RX, and you'll be able to navigate your profile within Optum RX. Once you register for mail order, then you'll just need to get your prescription sent to Optum RX so that they can fill that for you. It does typically take about 10 business days from the time that you set up your first order till that is completed. So I will allow a little bit of time for that first order. I always mention maybe one more refill at your retail pharmacy while you're going through the transition process into that 90-day mail order option. But then there's a lot of information and questions and answers are available out there depending on what you may want to know specifically related to your pharmacy plan. And there's also a way for you to price out your medications. Maybe mail order isn't going to be the best option and you want to see how much it's going to work out to be at a retail pharmacy. You have the opportunity to kind of look at what your options are. And a lot of people do it medication by medication. Maybe you want your blood pressure medicine to come through mail order, but you prefer to pick up other medications at the retail pharmacy. So you can definitely pick and choose which medications you take advantage of through the retail versus your mail order. The last thing I wanted to talk about is Healthiest You, which is a really great benefit that's built into your plan. And a lot of people maybe don't understand how it works or what it helps with, but basically it's virtual services that include general medicine, dermatology, mental health, and then some back and neck care. These are done by going either to your Healthiest You website, which I've highlighted here on a black and white spreadsheet, doesn't work very well, but it's member.healthiestyou.com, or you can call the phone number to work through getting your account set up so that you can take advantage of these additional resources. These services are covered at no cost. So if you wanted to see a mental health provider, for example, you have the opportunity to use Healthiest You to link you with a provider and take advantage of that at no copay. So it's really fantastic. And it's, again, built into your plan. So virtual care available through app, web, or phone, whichever meets your needs. And just for those of you that are curious on that mental health situation, it's a little bit different than EAP because you do have an opportunity, if you like your mental health person that you're talking to at the time, you have an opportunity at the end of that visit to ask if you could reschedule with them for another appointment. So it does give you an opportunity to kind of build continuity that a lot of people are looking for And again, at no cost.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Well, we'll pause for a second just to remind everybody, if you have a question, please use the chat. Mandy, is there any more in there for Michelle before we move to MetLife?
I don't think so.
Oh, we do have one that just came in. Do virtual doctor visits have a copay?
It's, oh, Michelle, you're on mute.
I'm telling you, I'm the queen of technical difficulties. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
It will depend on which plan you're enrolled in.
right.
If you're on the $3,000 HSA plan, just know that everything on that plan besides preventive care is subject to your deductible first and then co-insurance. And then covered in full. If you're on the traditional plan, it is covered at no cost. So really great question.
Okay, just also, we don't have any entries for the theme of 2023. So if you enter, you got a really strong chance of winning a gift card.
I think people are tired of your game, Brandon. I think they've played this game 2 years in a row. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but they fell asleep with your game, I think.
I'm kind of tired of your game, but maybe that should be the theme.
That might be 2023's theme.
Tired of your game in 2023. All right. We digress, but here we go into MetLife, and I'm going to review some of the benefits here. The first is the dental plan. Just a reminder, we have a very good dental package with MetLife. First, you're covered 100% in preventive, right? So this includes your cleanings, once, twice a year. And then you also have a very good out-of-network benefit as well. So MetLife has a pretty big network, but if you choose to go out of the network, you're still covered at 80%. I will tell you, this percentage of reasonable and customary, that's a term in the industry that it takes what your dentist is charging and how does it compare to the average of all the other dentists in the area. And it's the 99th percentile. That's the highest that we see with any dental plan. So that's a very good out-of-network plan that you have. Basic services, this is going to include, fillings. Those are covered at 80% in network, 70% out. Major services, this is going to include crowns, root canals, wisdom teeth. Those type of things are covered at 50% in network, 40% out. You have a deductible that only applies to B and C, basic and major services. That's $50 individual, $150 for family, and that is the same in or out of network. And then you have a benefits maximum of $1,500, and this resets calendar year. So obviously encourage you to get this benefit maximum by the end of the year, and then you have it again starting in January. Just some couple things here on the dental plan. Again, you have a large network. MetLife goes out and negotiates with the dentist. Their average discount is probably around 30 to 45% less than if you were to pay cash. That type of thing. And they have the same fee schedule for both dentists and specialists, which is huge. If you have to see a specialist, as many know, that's very expensive, but they've also negotiated that fee as well. Just a couple resources, if you want to get estimates like on a root canal, wisdom teeth, that crown, those are high-end costs. You can get that on their website, and they do have a 24-hour customer service line that you can call. Vision benefits. All right, so vision, these are good reminders too. A lot of times vision goes underutilized. People don't use their vision benefit, and you have this here for you. It's covered in full, an exam after a $5 copay. And this includes vision clinics, ophthalmologists, those types of things, all included in that $5 copay. They do have an out of network, but this is going to be a coverage of what you get paid towards, $45 allowance. I encourage you to stay in the network on this because you're going to get a much better benefit. That eye exam does reset. It is a rolling 12 months, just so you know. It's not a calendar year item. So if you went in December for your eye exam, you have to wait until the following December to get another eye exam covered. You also have materials and eyewear covered after a $10 copay, and you do have up to $150 that will be covered on the frames and lenses. Well, excuse me, frames 150, lenses are covered in full. And this is every year for lenses. For the frames, it's covered every 2 years. So if you want to go back in for an eye exam every year, and let's say your prescription changes, you can bring in your current frame and get your lenses changed every year. But the frames is every 2 years. Again, if you want to go on and find a provider, go to the MetLife website and you can find both your dentist and the vision network in there. Well, hold on. Also, if you want to review your claims, that's all available on the MetLife website as well. You can print ID cards. MetLife's a little unique. They don't issue ID cards for vision or dental. It's a little bit annoying because you're supposed to just go in and tell them your name and social security, and they can look it up and you'll be in a system. But if you're like me, you like having proof of something. And so you can go to the website and print off ID cards for both dental and vision. Okay, something too, just so you're aware, is that Panther has decided to pay for a few benefits for you and your protection to reduce risk for you and your family. So first, you have a life insurance that is covered, $50,000 for you, well, really for your family, but this is a great benefit. Then also long-term disability. You know, just a reminder, you have a state-sponsored short-term disability or medical leave act that's covered by the state. In conjunction with that, Panther has decided to pay for you a long-term disability policy. So really you're covered either way, if it's short-term or long-term. All full-time employees are eligible. You can get up to 50% of your salary, up to a maximum of $5,000 per month. Which is pretty standard in the industry. Not many policies go above this anyway, so usually about 60,000 a year is the most that you'll get. There is a waiting period of 90 days because that would be the end of the state-sponsored short-term disability product, and then long-term would kick in. And then if you were to go out for long-term disability, you would receive that amount until the normal retirement age defined by Social Security. This is that employee assistance program that is included with MetLife, and just a couple things. First of all, you have up to 5 counseling sessions. This is pretty generous. Most are around 3, and this can be in person. Either over the phone or, of course, virtually. But this is there for you at no cost. They also have other resources and tools. I encourage you to go there and check it out. Here's the website right here and how to register. But they've got other things when it comes to like completing a will, legal advice. These are all things that you have into this employee assistance program. And again, MetLife has a mobile app. I encourage you to download that. Mandy, I think we're finally to you.
Oh, you ready for me?
Yes, unless we
Okay.
have questions about dental and vision in the,
I didn't see questions, but I did see that we have stirred the pot here and we
Oh.
have received some entries for the drawing. So that's great. Keep them
all
coming.
right. I will take a look at those as you talk.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the benefits through task. It's a third-party administrator that manages the HSA account, the flexible spending account, the limited purpose flexible spending account, and also the dependent care account. So I'm just going to review these slides. This shouldn't be a new vendor to you unless you are new to Panther. So you can go ahead and skip to the next slide. And we'll start with the health savings account. So this goes alongside, if you've elected the medical HSA plan, then you are eligible to contribute to the health savings account. And there are some advantages to doing that. It's pre-tax dollars that you can set aside. You don't lose those amounts at the end of the year. The whole thing rolls over. It belongs to you. So if anything were to happen, if you were to leave or whatever, it's your bank account. As an individual employee, you can put up to $3,850 aside in this HSA account. And if you're a family, you can put up to $7,750 aside in the HSA account. And if you are 55 or older, there is a catch up of $1,000 additionally that you can put in. So this is a great vehicle that sometimes people very healthy, they just decide to max out their HSA account every year because that money is all theirs. It comes with them. It rolls over every year. If you do need to use it for any sort of health expenses as you go out through the year, you can do that as well. But if you want to, you can just be saving it. So this is an option for you. I do want you to know that if you are enrolling for the very first time in the HSA plan and you're wanting to use an HSA account for this, you will have to download and sign and submit the enrollment form. And you'll find that in Employee Navigator, and I'll go through that in just a minute, but then you'll need to submit that to your HR. If you're already enrolled in this health savings account and you just want to update the elections because you need to update them every year, we don't just assume that you wanted what you had last year. We can't do that. So you will make those elections through Employee Navigator, and then your HR will update those with tasks so that that's showing up. Okay. That was pretty clear, I would say, wouldn't you, Brandon?
Crystal clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next slide is talking about the flexible spending account. So this is for those of you who are not participating in the HSA plan. This is a tax-free vehicle for you to set dollars aside that you can use for your healthcare expenses throughout the year. Maybe you want to use it for the co-pays that you know, maybe you have a surgery coming up, you know you're going to meet your $2,000 deductible, so you want to put that aside. You can do that tax-free through this account. The maximum on this account is $3,050 per year that you can do. This is a new IRS limit. I think it's a little different than last year's limit. And on this plan, there is a $610 carryover. And so that means only $610 remaining in that account at the end of this year, this upcoming year. Only that will roll over to the next year. So you want to be really careful when you're setting dollars aside here that you're making sure that you use them, because only the 610 would roll over to the next year. Okay. We're still going. Next slide. Okay. This is a limited purpose flexible spending account. And this account you can use if you're enrolled in the HSA plan. So you can set aside dollars for dental and vision expenses only. This is what this applies to. And again, it's the same $3,050 maximum. And when I'm telling you these maximums, you don't have to elect the full maximum. I want to make that pretty clear. If you want to just put $1,000 in this account and use that for dental and vision expenses, you can do that. This also has a carryover of $610. Okay. Okay. And then the next piece of task is the dependent care account. And so this you can use If you have children that are in daycare and you want to pay the daycare tax-free, you can do that through this dependent care account. The maximum limit on this, it's an IRS maximum, is $5,000 annually. So you can set that money aside and you can pay for those daycare services if you have children under 12. Okay.
We're getting towards the end here,
We
maybe.
are. I know you're excited. Hold your applause, please. So we're going to talk about Employee Navigator. I know that Panther Systems is already familiar with Employee Navigator, but Brandon and I, we are with CapFi now, different broker. So we have built your exact same Employee Navigator, but it's on our CapFi license. So if in the last couple months you did not log into Employee Navigator, you will need to re-register. So I know that some of you, a couple months ago, Lisa sent something out and a lot of you went in and you looked at the benefits and you registered at the new site. If you already did that a couple months ago, you can use that same username and password. If you were someone that didn't have the opportunity or chance to do that, when you get the email link today from Employee Navigator, that email should be going out at noon today. When you get that, you're going to need to register as though you're a brand new person to Employee Navigator so that you can elect benefits on this platform. Okay. All your information should be in there. It should all be loaded in, but we would like every employee to go in and make sure that their address is correct, their dependent information is correct. Go through the whole enrollment. If you're waiving things, you can waive things. If you're electing things, yes. If you need to update your task elections for your flexible spending account, your limited purpose account, you can do that all through Employee Navigator. And once you get that link today, I just want you to look for it in your email. It comes from Employee Navigator. So you might want to check your junk mail and make sure that you get it. And there's a link that you can click on and it'll help you go through the open enrollment steps. So once you've registered, it'll have you begin. If you go to the next slide. Again, it's just having you start the enrollment. You're going to go walk through all the things that we talked about. The resources will be there for you if you want to look at SBCs or benefit summaries. If you are for the first time enrolling in that HSA account with Task, there will be a form for you to download and fill out, sign, and turn into HR. All those resources will be there for you. If you go to the next slide, one of the things I know, again, you guys are familiar with it, but if you're trying to compare costs and plans and you're trying to see what it would look like if you were only enrolled in the benefits or if you added a dependent, it allows you to do that in real time. It'll show you what the cost of the plans would be, depending on how many people you have enrolled. So that's a really nice tool and feature of Employee Navigator as well. Okay. So once you've walked through all the steps, you're saving and continuing after each time that you're selecting your benefits or waiving them. Save and continue, save and continue. You get to the end, they're gonna ask you for a signature. You're gonna do that, and then it's gonna give you a nice sort of summary of everything that you've enrolled in and what your deductions would be. And that is as easy as that. That is it. So I want to stress that Employee Navigator email, it's going out today at noon. So please be on the lookout for that. We need everybody to go in and elect something. It's not an option to just say, I'm not going to do it. I want everything the same. I think I made that clear. And we need to have everything in by December 18th. So that's the window that your open enrollment is open. You can sit there with a spouse if you want to walk through and talk through benefits, because I know that's fun. So make sure that you do that, and please contact us if you did not receive the email or don't know where the email is. Okay, I think that's all I know.
Well, thank you. We have a few minutes. If you want any questions, put in the chat, or feel free at this time to ask them.
Nathan wants a cookie. He wants a cookie.
Yeah, by the way, so we've got some really good themes in there now.
Yeah, I see that.
There was one that was a little
Offensive.
bothersome. Well, somebody wants universal health care now. I think that would put you and I out of a job.
I know. That one's hard for me, but I do like staying alive. I think that's a great one.
I like Damon's, but I have a feeling that Damon may have won a couple years ago. Am I right on that? Damon, did you win already?
No, I don't think I've ever actually put one in.
Okay, okay.
Oh.
But here's the backstory, right? Is that I've
Right.
always joked, because I've been in HSAs for, I don't know, since it came out. And I've always joked, yeah, it's the healthcare plan that lets you pay all the medical expenses, right? You get insurance so you can pay for everything.
Yeah.
And for the first year, my wife started a new procedure, and we hit the maximum, we hit the deductible on her, and all of a sudden everything was free, and I was like, oh, this is where these turn out pretty good.
That's a good
Yeah,
testimony.
his is HSA, 3K pay goes this way, 3,000 feet, then get the rest for free.
It's
Pretty
true.
good.
It's very good.
Any questions?
I do like Dawn's entry. It's the year of the tridemic. Wish there was only a pandemic again. Pretty good.
I did like that one too.
Okay.
I tell you what, I'm gonna print those off. We will look at those later and we will let Lisa know the winners. If that works. And then you, Lisa, can let me know what they want for gift cards. If there's not any other questions, we'll go ahead and end this.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
everybody.
Happy holidays, everybody.
You too. Thank you.